So on Twitter, people told me to ask you, and I think this is a great question. What would it take for you to sell any of the Bitcoin?
I would have to find something superior to buy. Like Bitcoin is it's the apex asset. It's the best asset the apex monetary asset, the technically superior monetary asset. If you define money thermodynamically or mathematically or based on any engineering principle, you got a swimming pool and it's got a leak in it and 15% of the water drains out of it every year, and the other swimming pool has no leak in it. One of the two swimming pools is technically superior as a swimming pool. This is a technically superior asset. So I bought it because I was selling inferior assets. I'm selling the dollar to buy the Bitcoin. I'm selling a stock. I'm selling gold. Not buying is selling, right? So the issue really is, like, why would I sell the superior thing to buy the inferior thing? When you invent something which is better, and you show it to me, and by the way, it can't be just better technically, right? I mean, otherwise, some random Bitcoin fork with a small engineering mod would be better. It has to, when you show me a better monetary network that has more money in it, that's more thermodynamically sound, if you could basically take Bitcoin and if it ran 10 times faster and it had $5 trillion on it and people with more money than the Bitcoiners were using that thing, then I would probably throw in the towel, sell Bitcoin, and buy that thing. I would sell Bitcoin Cash to buy Bitcoin. It's pretty obvious why.
Right.
When 100 people with more money than me pick something which works better than my thing, and they anoint that as money, then I will buy that thing. And so that's why you would sell it. I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't sell it to buy a fiat currency that's being debased, right? So I wouldn't buy a 20th century thing, right? It's like, let me turn it around to you. If you have a house with electricity and running water, what would convince you to turn off your electricity and your running water?
Nothing.
Yeah, you see, it comes down to, do you see it as a thermodynamically sound monetary network that's the future of life on Earth and the base layer for $500 trillion of assets?
Right.
Do you see it as a railroad? What would cause you to stop using the railroad? What would cause you to stop using airplanes? What would cause you to give up on antibiotics? When will you give up your mobile phone? When will you stop using Google? What would cause you to stop using YouTube? And the answer, by the way, is when something better comes along, right?
Yes.
So
I see that.
I think it all comes down to a very simple, fundamental question. Do you view it as technology? Is it a technical network? Is it a digital network like Google? Is it a railroad's a network, a power network? Is it a communications network? Is it a technical engineered network? Is it air transit network? If you believe it is, you expect it to grow for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years because it's technically superior to the thing it replaced. It's pretty obvious that if I can move $1 billion of gold around at the speed of light 1 million times a second everywhere on Earth, that's better than holding a bunch of gold. Right? It's like, if I, like, when will the guys in Star Trek give up the transporter beam that transports you at the speed of light anywhere you want? It's like, they're not giving it up until you come up with something better. So if it's technology, it will only be replaced by better technology. And money is technology, right? If you're a trader, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people in the crypto business that they've been around it forever, but they still don't know what they have. They still think they're trading little coins and tokens and speculating, and they're trying to guess which token will be up tomorrow or the next day. They miss the big picture. It's like we've invented a monetary network, the first in human history. It's probably 1 million times more efficient way to move money around. Money is half of everything, right? Half of everything on Earth is in assets you need, like your car, like your house, like your clothes, like your art, That's half. And the other half is just pure financial energy. It's optionality to buy the stuff that you don't know you need yet. But, maybe you want to give the money to your granddaughter, your grandson, or save it for a rainy day. So the half of the monetary energy in the human race is currently moving around in 20th century asset containers called stocks and bonds. And try wiring $100 million of Apple stock on a Saturday afternoon in Turkey. It's like, boy, you can't do it.
Right.
You can't do it, right? So Bitcoin, it solves a problem, and the problem is $200 trillion problem. We need one monetary network that everybody agrees on, right? And what is going to make it successful? I mean, basic technology protocol, an open protocol that supports a deflationary currency. That's one thing. Thermodynamically sound, mathematically pure. We need it to not be, corrupted code. Then we need, a physical network of hodlers to protect it. We need miners to operate it. It needs to be reasonably decentralized. Once you've got past that, it all comes down to, can you get institutions, corporations, and individuals to embrace it? And if they choose to embrace it, then it becomes the network. And if they choose not to embrace it, it isn't. So this is the thing. It's a technology network. It's probably, in my opinion, it's the single biggest technology advance of our lifetime. You could compare it to the internet. I mean, Andreas would. The internet was an information network. What happens if I digitize information and put it on a network? This is digitizing money. I saw an interesting quote. Somebody said the two greatest inventions of the human race are language and money. Mm-hmm. Well, the internet is really all about language, right? If information is language. So the internet gave us digital language moving at the speed of light, 1 million times more efficiently than, I'm sitting in a library with books, okay? Like books, right? That's the 19th century, quasi 20th century approach to language. Very inefficient. You might as well be sitting in a vault of gold. And I think that everything you saw on the internet, that was digital language. And yeah, it was important, but digital money seems to be more important, at least as important. We could debate back and forth. One thing is for sure, it's at least 10 to 100 times more important than Google. And the world needs it. When Google came out, you could either buy Google, hold the stock and believe in it, or you could be perennially asking people about the Google bear market and when they're going to actually take money off the table and how they're going to trade it. And I was like, that's just so hard and exhausting, Laura, to try to figure out when you're going to do that. We're a company. We're trying to make the world a better place. I have some capital. I have some bandwidth. You got to decide what you're going to do with it. So I tried different things. We invented alarm.com. We spun it off. It's a nice company. We invented business intelligence. We run it. We do good. We have a chance to help commercialize the Bitcoin monetary network. The world needs it. It's probably going to happen with or without us, by the way. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it was going to happen with or without me, right? It's going to happen. And by the way, if we're wrong, then we're wrong. There's 3,499 other publicly traded companies that'll do something different. And then the human race will go forward on their shoulders and not ours. If we're right, maybe we help it along a little bit and the world will be a better place. Either it'll be a better place for the people that need a currency that have no other alternative, or maybe it'll be a more rational place because price discovery will return to stocks and bonds and real estate. Or maybe it'll be a better place because politicians will treat people better. Or maybe it'll be a better place because big tech companies will find a way to move digital gold around 1 billion times faster than the current gold moves around. And when they move it that fast, we're going to create something magical that will go on. I think if you have electric power network with a short circuit, right? People forget there'd be no New York City. There's no civilization if I can't get electricity to flow over power lines without a leak.
Right.
Right? Like people dismiss this stuff, but New York City wouldn't be here. You can't make a skyscraper work, right? There's some fundamental things about our society, right? There's no antibiotics without refrigeration or no hospitals, right? So if you want to build a civilization, you're going to have to create networks that are thermodynamically sound. And the railroads, the power networks, the oil networks, and steel and metallurgy and other types of engineering and automotive networks, they're all critical. And I feel just as strongly about the monetary network. You want an example? Go look at what's going on in Venezuela or Argentina right now.
Right.
You could spend 1 million hours trying to run a company, but if you're running a company and you're a genius and the currency is collapsing that you're actually doing business in, it's hopeless.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what you do. If the currency collapses, the currency is the blood supply and the oxygen carrier of the body politic and the body economic. So it's, you could say, well, leave that to the politicians. But again, name me one successful company in Venezuela right now. There won't be
Right.
any, right? There won't be
Yeah.
any. So when I talk about it as a monetary network, I think it's important because it means that companies and individuals need to plug into this monetary network the same way they need to plug into oxygen. When the oxygen gets sucked out of the atmosphere, you need an oxygen mask. Otherwise, you're going to die. And you can say, well, I'm dying slowly. And so, it's like you could say, I don't think it'll get any worse. But the point is, at 15% a year, there's a point at which you're not going to be able to make it. So I think it's critical for humanity, and it's a critical engineering breakthrough. And if you understood that, when you understand that, you're not selling, right? You're not going to sell.
Yeah.
When you've got something better, then we talk about it. But until we've got something better, the best thing we can all do is find a way to spread this monetary network to the four corners of the earth.